congrats on the new role, Dan. Can you give us a bit of an understanding on what your role will be and how it will be different to what Brady's doing?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So I'll essentially be responsible for the football performance. So essentially working with Nobes really closely in the coaching group, the high performance and medical crew, and the welfare, off-field stuff as well. And then Brady will take control of the list management and the recruiting side of things. So we'll be working very closely together, but have clear responsibilities.
Imagine you've got plenty to do, Daniel, but what's the first order of business for you?
I think getting in and just sitting down and meeting everyone. So I'd like to go through face-to-face with all the footy department staff and, have a look at their position descriptions and development plans and just see where everyone's at. Just get a lay of the land, really. Like to spend a lot of time, players and staff, and just sort of get a sense of where everyone's at and put some things in place to get us moving forward really quickly.
What was the actual appeal of North Melbourne to you?
I think despite the ladder position from last season, I think the club's in a really good position. And, even the last 24 hours when people had been made aware of my appointment, the number of messages that I got from people saying, "Oh, congratulations, it's a great role," and the club's really well set up in terms of the people that they've got there. It's whether it's Ben or Nobes or Brady or there's a lot of positive sense around the club at the moment. So really excited about the challenge, and think again, despite the ladder position from last year, I think the club's in a really good position to launch up.
You're obviously coming across from Melbourne, who's just won a premiership, so They're doing a lot right, clearly.
Yep.
What did you see there that was working really well that you think you can implement at North Melbourne to bring them back up the ladder?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Mark, that's changed in the last couple of years at Melbourne was just the cultural buy-in from everyone, the selfless nature of the way the players and the staff went about their day-to-day activities, really. So it was, clearly at Melbourne there's a highly talented list, and the players got together and 12 or 18 months ago and sort of thought they'd had enough of being around the mark, sort of just missing finals and things like that. So they made really strong commitments to each other to, the time is now to dig in, drive really hard standards, hold each other accountable to what they do, the way they train, the way they prepare themselves. And that transferred really strongly on field.
Hi, Daniel. Congratulations. What's changed in the high-performance world in the last couple of years? Is there a sort of a trend that you could educate us on?
Nothing specific, Rob. I think it's just about keeping things moving and introducing new concepts. You can often get a bit stale just doing the same thing over and over and over again. So I think it's really important to change up the training, whether that's the conditioning, where you do it, how often you do it. Recovery's become really important as well. We expect the players to train at a really high intensity every time they train. And then also to allow them to be able to do that each time, they need to be able to recover really well. So I think diet's really important. The hot cold baths that they always talk about. There's little things like that. A lot of the stretching, Pilates, yoga. There's all different ways that it's certainly changed in the last few years from just run as much as you can to try and get as fit as you can.
There was a fair bit of clean-out down, obviously, in that sort of the high-performance department at the Roos. Is there still hiring still to be done there, like in terms of the doctor and sports scientist and sort of roles like that kind?
Yeah, pretty close. Again, John, I'm only just sort of very new to the place. I've only been here an hour or so, to be honest. But so haven't got the full details of everything. But my understanding is there's still a couple of spots to be filled, but certainly pretty close to having the full complement in place.
Is there a couple of things you've learned from Darren Burgess, obviously, that you can take across? I know you've sort of been asked a similar question, but is there something from him that can really perhaps accelerate the Roos next season, his perhaps philosophies or something along those lines?
Yeah, I think one of his main philosophies was if you can train. So, in the past, I'm not talking specifically about North Melbourne. I'm talking about all the clubs that I've had anything to do with. There's often times if it's one way or the other. At times players will elect not to train or take the easy way out. Burjo was really strong on, unless there's something seriously wrong with you, you'll get out and you'll train. And he was also really big on every time you train at a real high intensity. So you train with purpose. So, I certainly think that's something that we can implement at North Melbourne really quickly.
Daniel, just to be super clear, so you won't have anything to do with the list management side of things. That'll be completely left to Brady, Mark Finnegan, Glenn Luff, Scott Clayton, these sort of guys.
Yeah, certainly not in this trade period, but I'll be across it moving forward. Given the timing of my appointment and the fact that the trade's happening right now, I'll let those guys go to work on that, and it certainly is Brady's responsibility. I'll be involved in it from a distance, so to speak, but it's certainly, that's in Brady's basket, that one.
So there's no point on us drilling you about all the things that are going on, the Coleman-Jones deal and all these sorts of things. You haven't got anything for us?
Certainly not today, mate. I got appointed 5 minutes ago, so no.
Are you expecting the start of pre-season and the like to be impacted by sort of the pandemic that's obviously been going for a couple of years now? Are you expecting more trouble heading into pre-season at this point?
Oh, yeah.
Disruption, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, it's obviously difficult to say absolutely, but you'd expect it's not going to be smooth sailing from the get-go. So we start training on the 22nd of November. You'd expect there to be still some sort of restriction and, inhibition in what we can and can't do at that point, but you'd like to think we're moving in the right direction, and if not by the start of pre-season, certainly around Christmas time into the new year, we'll be much freer than we are at the moment.